I'm Patrick Bailey with whiteboardcoder.com. Today is March 24th, 2016, and in this video I'll be going over how to customize the SBT shell prompt. Okay, now why would you want to do this? And the basic answer is information. So now I can quickly look here, and whatever information I want to quickly look at and obtain, I can put it in there. So here I actually have the project name. So here's Pre-Owned Kittens, which actually comes from this SPD book, which I'm currently trying to study. So whatever information you want to have quick access to, put it there so you can customize it the way you want it to. You know, as an example, if I exit out of here and I just look at my own command prompt, my Linux command prompt, I actually put the current directory I'm in because the way that I want it. Now, whatever way you want it, you know, just set up the way you want it. Now, as an example, though, too, is I kind of like to know where I'm at. So if I actually go to one of my servers, I can see here that I have red. So I kind of distinguish where I'm at based on color. So you can, there's kind of a lot of information density you can do there. So the big answer, information. Put the information in that's going to help you out. Okay, now let me create a simple example here. So let me make a directory. Kittens. And I'm kind of following an example in this SBT book that keeps having these, has a kitten example rather than a hello world example. So we'll go into there and I'll edit the file. I'll make a build.sbt. And we'll put some simple things in here. So we'll name the project. And he goes with this pre-owned kittens. And we'll give it a version. 1.0. So I'll keep it pretty simple. And then I'll come down here and give a really simple shell prompt example. So we'll do shell prompt, and we'll assign it to the state, and we'll just do something really simple here. We'll put that for the command prompt. So if I save that, and actually go into the SBT kittens folder and run it, I should have a custom command prompt, although very simple. As it slowly starts up. And there we go. So there's my custom command prompt. There's the space I put there. I can do a quick SBT version, and you know, we've got a custom command prompt. Now let me exit out there and let's tweak it a little further. So now you can, let's say you wanted the current project in here, and here's one way to do it. So we'll do this, and we'll make it a little fancier. So I like having brackets. So I'll put in some brackets here, and then I'll do, you can get the project.extract state.current project.id. And now that should get the project in there. And let me see, I should I'll put a space in there and do that. So that'll actually put the project ID in there. So let me save that and try it again. There we go. Now this is what I did originally, but you can see it's messed up. So now it's getting kittens from the directory, which is kind of the default. It's actually not getting the name pre-owned kittens. So I need to actually fix that. So we'll exit out of here. So my example is a little wrong. Well, it's just wrong. So what we'll do here is I'm getting the information from the wrong place. So what you can do, you get project.extract state.get opt sbt. Now this is the hard way to do it, but keys.name Now, there's also the possibility that someone may not define the name here. If they don't define the name, what's the default? So I'll throw in a get or else, and we will use this guy. So if you can't get it, let's see. Yeah, there we go. If you can't get it, then get the default project ID, which I guess is just grabbing it from the folder name. And so that should work. And that should get us our hello kittens. I mean, our pre-owned kittens. And there we go. Now I've got pre-owned kittens. So now that's working kind of how I want. But also, it's the way it is kind of verbose, and it seems a little like there should be a simpler way to do it. And looking stuff up, there actually is a much simpler way to do it. So let me put that in here. I mean, it's good to practice all this stuff and figure out what's what. I'm still an SBT noob, so I'm still learning things. That's why I want to dive in as best I can. So here's a much simpler way. There we go. And so we can just go name. Oh, where am I? Here I am. And I can go name.value, and that'll get you the information you actually want. Now, the nice thing is that actually works. If your name is not defined, it'll actually go back and get the folder name, which is equivalent to, this code is basically equivalent to the code below, at least effectively. So let me, I'll just delete it. So now, if I run it, I should get the similar results. Oh wait, you know what? I didn't actually, I didn't add any, oh, there we go. How about that? There we go. Now I should get similar results. And there we go, pre-owned kittens. So let me exit out of this, and just to prove what I'm saying is true, I can come up here and comment out the name. And so now it won't find the name, but it will go to the default, which will be the folder name, I guess. And that actually works. So I just commented that out, try it again, and hopefully I just get kittens this time. I just want to show that so that you don't, if the name's not there, I don't want it to error out, right? And there we go. So there's that simple hello world. Now up next, I want to cover colors on the command line. Colors in the command prompt can always be a little confusing. Now you can see just my regular command prompt. I'm using green, I'm using red, I'm using all these colors, and I have them defined in my bash. Now in the past, I've actually used this website that kind of has a good description of how to use colors on the command line. And I'm going to put this link in my show notes, and it's a good place to go to kind of get some of the basic colors. And that's what I used to use, and it works just fine. And it's still very legit. But in doing some research on this, I actually came across some more interesting ideas, which are very similar. I mean, it's using the same kind of tool, but it's you get more variety of colors. And so a good place to go. I found this on Stack Exchange, and I'll put this link in the show notes. And if you scroll down here, this guy, let me see what his name is. It's nice to always give credit where credit's due. There we are. Goldilocks? Okay, Goldilocks here. He gave a really good example. So he's showing not only here the different colors, which I'm used to the normal colors that are described in here, but also there's a simple way to go grab and to confirm on your Linux prompt what colors you can actually see. And so he's showing this little flow chart, and he actually shows a little bit of code. And so you can actually take this little bit of code, write it and run it, and see how the colors show up on yours. Now I took this code and simplified it a little bit, and I put it up as a gist. So here's the link for my gist. But really the heart of the matter is just this one-liner. So really, I'm turned it into a one-liner where you can actually copy this, and you can run it, and you can see. Well, here, let me copy it over here, which has a few more returns so you can see it better. Maybe. There we go. So here it's just going, it's just a for loop. So it's going from 0 to 255, and it's just echoing out this color. And it's going to echo out, all the colors from 0 to 255 to see what possibilities there are in the background and in the foreground, just to see what you have in Unix. Now, I've run this on Sigwin, which is usually going to be maybe the lowest common denominator out there. I don't know. But I've run this on Sigwin and on Ubuntu, and I get the same exact results. So what you probably want to do is run it on your machine to confirm what colors you have, because it may be different. I don't know. So run this, and all of a sudden you'll get all the numbers, and you'll get all these colors. And it's really useful. I didn't know about this, so I'm actually pretty happy to understand what's going on now a little bit better, and to use this methodology, which is very similar but a little different. Now you'll notice in here, so we got these numbers here. You notice here this /033 38.5. You notice this /033 48.5. And so kind of how this works is you're telling on the command line, you're telling what color you want in the background and in the foreground. So basically it's fairly easy. So for your text, you do /033 and then bracket 38 semicolon 5. And then you actually put whatever color number you want. So if you wanted 12, you put a 12 and then an M. And now that basically says all the text after this is going to be, in this case, if you chose 12, it'll be this color here. Now the same thing goes for the background color that you want to highlight, except for rather than being a /033 38, it's a 48. So if I wanted the background to be red, I'd say /033 48 semicolon 5 semicolon. Oh, I missed it the first time. And then whatever the color number is. Not, in this case, if I wanted 9, I put 9 and then M, and that would define what color you want. It's kind of that easy. So you can think of these, you just got to stick your number right in there. And so if I want to go back in here, and I've chose a couple of colors, so I went down here and I looked around, I found, let's see, 171. It's pink. And then I chose, let's see, for a pink background, I thought, okay, red letters might show up well on that. Now red, you can see some of these colors, they're in different places. They might be slightly different shades. So if I wanted red, I could use 160 or 124 is kind of red. In my case, here's a little darker red. And also there's some at the very front. So 1 is red, 9 is red, but you can see they're all a little bit different shades, it seems to me, at least at first glance. Anyway, so let's say I want to use those. Let me go actually edit my file and throw some of these in. So there is my name.value. And so now I just need to throw some of these in here to define it. And actually, this actually forced me to redo my batch command prompt. So, because it was a little simpler to use that command to get the colors than kind of what I was doing before. It just made a little more sense. So we've got this, and so here, before this, so we do a /033 bracket 38 5, and now I would do what color I want in the, so 38.5, so this is the text color. So if I want red, I could do this 160M, and so now it says everything must be red past this until you put another thing there that changes the color again. So, let's just do that. Let's save that and make sure that works. So now if I run SBT, there we go. So now, hey, it's all red. But the other thing here is this part's red too. So it says everything starts red, but I never stop it. So it's just all red. Now there is a way to reset it. So I can go down here at the end. When I'm all done, I kind of want to reset it. And so there actually is a reset color. So you can do /033, and let me see. And then you can do 0M. And that kind of says reset it to whatever the default is. So I always end something with that, so I know that I'm going back to whatever I want. Now, if you wanted the rest of your color to be red, you don't need that. So let me go back to the beginning here. So now I want to do a background color. So I'll do /033 48 48.5, so that's background. And then pink is 171M. And that should give me what I want. So now everything should be pink. But, okay, let me change where I'm going to put this the reset. Let me say I want to reset here. 0M. So I'll reset there so that my brackets are now basically back to normal color, or the default color, which should be a black, in my case, is a background and a white foreground. So that should work. So I should expect a pink background with red letters, and then my brackets should just be white with a black background. He says, hopefully. And there we go. So you can sit there and fiddle with those colors. Let me do one more thing. Let's say, let's say I want one of those brackets to be a different color. Just the second one. So I could come in here and say, okay, I want that one to be, well, maybe just look at my colors. Let me find a strange color. How about 81? It's kind of a weird color. We want to make it 81. So we'll come down here and 033, 38. We'll just do the text, not the background. And 81M, right? And then afterwards, I'll reset it. That's right. Yeah. So now that last one should be that blue color. Simple as that, hopefully. And there you go. So you can see a little blue down there. Okay, so that kind of covers colors. And so next, I'm going to kind of show cleaning my whole thing up and kind of doing what I'm using right now, with the exception of some of the more advanced stuff I'm going to do in another video. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit to make my code a little nicer looking. Let me put my name back in there, I guess. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'll do shellPrompt, kind of copying some code on the side here. State, and we'll yield that. And let's see what we got here. So I'm going to start. What did I just do? Yeah, I just did something stupid there, didn't I? Let me try again. Okay, so let me clean this up. So shellPrompt. State, and where did we go with this? So we come down here. And so I'll just define some colors. So I'll say color is an integer. So you can start defining some stuff just to make life easier. Three, 38, 5, and a color. So you can pass all this fun stuff in. Looks right. Define a background color. So put the 48 there for the background. And color M. There we go. And so we'll also define a reset. Just make life easier. Let's see, 033-0M. That looks about right, right? Let's see. Yeah, it looks right to me so far. We'll see. Then I'll do a format text string. I'll just make a little method here. So you take whatever string you want, and then apply a text color to it. And a background color. Okay, so I come in here and I'll figure this out. If I can type. So we'll take our text color, whatever it may be, pass it in, get the right text we need over there. Alright, there we go. And then get our background color. And then pass in our, I guess I'll need that. Pass in the string and pass in reset. That should work, right? And then now you can start defining, what if you make life easier, define some colors in here. So I'll define a red, define green, yellow. Now these may not be the right colors for you, or 11 might not be yellow on yours. I'm not quite sure. I have a feeling most of them are. I started to use an orange. Let's see, orange equals, there we go. And I'll come down here and say format text. And so now we actually start sending all this stuff in. So name.value, my brackets, and so we'll send that in, and we want it to be white and orange. And so that should bring back the correct format. It'll bring the text and the color we want. So, and then I'll get a return in there, because that's kind of like what I like. I like having a return in there. Now this is what I do. I happen to have a Unicode character in here that I use in my font. My font supports its Unicode characters. Yours may not. And it's 276F. Oh, 6F. U276F. Yeah, so you can just put the Unicode character in there. And I'll do green and... Wow. I started doing orange. Let me do orange. Orange and black. I kind of repeat it 3 times. That's just the way I like it. Kind of repeat what I'm doing. So that's going to put that Unicode character in there, and it's going to color it orange with a black background. And let me go to the shellPrompt. I think that should work. Oh, and one other thing, if you're trying to use Unicode characters, you can do a quick test to make sure it's working. And it works on most Unicode characters, but I found out not all. But if you do Unicode-E, and you pass in the Unicode 276, you'll see. Now that output it. So if you actually have that character, fine. It's the characters I use for these right here. But it's a nice way to test if your Unicode characters actually work on your terminal for the font you're using. In fact, the font I'm using didn't actually support it, so I actually had to use FontForge to actually put it in the font. So, looks like I messed something up. 22. Okay, start. Oh, well, yeah, that's cool. A little bad form there. Let's try that now. I don't suggest code invite very much. I usually use nice ID, but sometimes it's nicer to show an example. Okay, messed something else up. Here, not found. Background color. I must have done the background. Oh, I put a capital G in there. Yeah. Oh, and completely misspelled color. Fantastic. Background color. Let's try that. It'll work. There we go. I got a wrong value in there. I'm getting the right color. So I'm getting the right orange color here, but I'm getting the wrong dot value here. That's my fault. So I'm getting the orange exactly like I want, but I'm not getting the correct value. So let me fix that. Okay, so what did I do wrong? Oh, well, there you go. That could help a lot, right? Now maybe. There we go. Oh, looks like I should have probably put a space right after this too, the way I do things. But anyway, it's working pretty much like I want it to. Now, we're not quite done yet, because actually I stuck this in the project. And I think sticking command line prompt preferences in the project is probably a really bad place to put it. Unless your whole team agrees on the same thing for some specific reason, fine. But for the most part, command prompts are kind of personal, and you may want to have certain information in there, and like someone may just want different information. So this is actually the wrong place to put it. So next up, I'm going to show you how to put it in your global configurations so that it'll apply to any project you're in, but it won't be part of those projects so you can have your own way and not mess other people up. Okay, so I found this page that kind of goes over global settings for SBT. And if you look down here, you'll see that there is a SBT, in your home directory, .sbt / whatever version of SBT you're using, in my case, 0.13, and then global.sbt. Now, there's a reason for the 0.13 because because we want Scala to advance and SBT to advance, they're trying to make things compatible, but also between certain versions, number of versions. So once they're talking about 1.0, I don't know if that actually means a 1.0, but 1.0, whatever that may mean, may not be compatible with 0.13. So you'd have to have global files that actually work with individual versions. So that's why that's there. But anyway, so that's the file to edit. Now for me, there's a little interesting gotcha. So because I'm using Cygwin, if I go to my home directory, I don't have a .sbt folder here, and this is actually not considered, because I'm using the basic Java 1.8 on this Windows box, that's where it's looking for. And Scala respects Java, and so it's actually using where it'll use the user home that Java defines the user home, which in my case is not in the Cygwin, it's actually in my home directory for the Windows box. But there is an easy way to find that no matter what system you're on. So what you can actually do is you can go open up the Scala REPL. And you can do this to find out where your home directory is. So println.system.get property and user.home. And there we go. And that should print out where your home directory, which in my case is in users patman. Now, so that's where my .sbt folder is. Now, I'm going to be using Cygwin most of the time when I'm doing things like this. So what I've chosen to do is to leave it there. Works just fine. That's also where my .iv folder is too, my iv2 folder. But so what I did is I just made a symlink from this directory to that directory. If you're in the same boat as me, it's probably a good idea just to do that. Most of you don't have to worry about it if you're on a Mac, if you're on Linux, if you're not using Cygwin, you probably don't have to worry about that at all. I could do .sbt and that should make me my symlink. So now I can do .sbt and I should see there's the 0.13 folder. So now let me go edit it. Or in this case, actually create it. 0.13 global.sbt. Right? Yeah. Oh, well. Let me copy over. So let me go back into SBT. Make a test. SBT kittens is where I have this, right? And so it's going to be pretty close to my build.sbt. So I can actually copy, in my case, build.sbt to .sbt. 0.13 and global.sbt. Right? There we go. And then we can edit it. So now for this global one, And again, I'm still an SBT noob, so there could be a better place to put this. This may just be the right place, or maybe an okay place. I think it's an okay place to put this. But we just put the shell prompt information right here. And now it's your shell prompt information. It's not part of the project. And so we'll just save that. And then I actually will edit my local build.sbt file. And I'll remove it. And so now it'll actually use your configurations. I don't know what the order of operations is, which one overrides which. I would guess your personal one does. But I haven't fiddled with that yet. But who's going to be writing shell prompts in builds? I think that's weird. It should be a personal thing, in my opinion. So now that that's all done, we can just do SBT. And I should get the same results I got last time, but it's actually going to go in and grab it from my global configurations. He says, hopefully. There we go. So now we got pre-owned kittens. And it's working just exactly like it was before. But now it's global. It's not part of this setup. Now I can go in. Oh, before, just in case anyone wants to know, I made a gist for that. So here's my shell prompt, my global.sbt. So this will be in the show notes, but here's the URL. So you can just copy and paste that if it makes your life easier. Okay, but now it actually works in all projects. So I can go into here and I can, well, let me clone a project. So I found a project that works pretty well to clone. Now, first I cloned a project that was using 0.12 SBT, and I had some issues, and I just didn't want to fight with it. But this one seemed to work, the scala.js. So you can go in here, and I'm just going to copy this real quick. Clone it, I should say. So we clone it. Oh, it already exists. Well, I already did this before. Forgot to remove it when I was testing. Okay, so we just cloned this whole thing in here. Pull it all down. And for this particular one, when I ran SBT on it before, there's a lot of Ivy stuff to pull down. So it pulled down a lot. Hopefully, I pulled it down so it's going to go faster this time. But if you run it, it may take a few minutes if you don't have the dependencies you need. But I'm doing this just to prove that now my custom prompt will be applied to any SBT project I'm working on. Okay, now if I run SBT, there we go. So this is called test, apparently. Let me see. List the projects. And I am in. Oh, I'm still in my test folder. So I guess that example worked, right? So let me actually go into the scala.js project and run it again. Okay, finally, there we go. So now I'm getting the scala.js in this project just like I want. And I could go, let me see, projects. I should list everything in here. And there it is, there's the scala.js. So it's working exactly like I want it to. So, cool. So next section, I'm going to do one more section talking about some of the future ideas I want to do with this. Okay, future ideas. What can you do next? Hopefully, I've got some kind of icon up here right now, a link to another video that I'm planning on making. And in that video, I'll be covering some other ideas that I want to do, like to show the get branch in the information section. I'm also going to be fiddling with some fonts. So I have to actually go remake some fonts and add some new Unicode characters in there so I can get some better looking information in that area. What are the kind of interesting things you could do? It's personal, so what information is useful to you? I mean, you could put today's date in there. You could, maybe you could have it talk to your Sensu checks and put information there showing what Sensu checks are currently going off. That'd be a little more advanced, but I guess you could do something like that. Put the last Git comment in there. The last comment from the last Git commit. You can put some Jenkins information in there, what your last valid build was, or when was your last deploy. I mean, there's some interesting information you could put in here, but it's personal. So put what personal information that you find valuable in here. Maybe share it with your team, but everyone's going to tweak it their own way, because like I'm not going to put the date in here, but maybe that's important to you. Anyway, so tweak on it, figure something out that's useful, and share some of your code with other people so they can see what you're doing. With that, I want to end this with some encouragement in your studies. And here's an old proverb. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will serve before kings. He will not serve before obscure men. So work hard, hone your skills, and eventually you'll be working someplace better. Or at least you'll better your current working place. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. To subscribe, just click the subscribe button. Also, you can follow me on Twitter under the handle @whiteboardcoder.com. View any code I may have thrown up as a gist at GitHub under the username PatmanDenver, or check out my blog site at whiteboardcoder.com.